Hi guys, I am on my way home from work. I had to go pick up some paperwork for my doctor, and now it looks like I'm going to have to find a fax machine somewhere so that I can fax it to him. Yeah, it's for my FMLA. My doctor has to fill out some disability stuff. I decided I was going to go ahead and talk about something that I get asked about a lot as a teacher. And I think there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of misunderstanding about this topic. So I figured I'd just go ahead and talk about it. So the question I get asked a lot is, what do I think about Common Core? And Common Core, I don't know, I like it. I don't have a problem, and I could be biased about that because I am, a new teacher. When I came in, Common Core was in full swing. Well, full swing. It was like the first full year of Common Core, my first year teaching. It's all I really know. But I think what the problem people have with it, and when they have a problem with it, they're serious. People are quitting their jobs. Parents are pulling their kids out of school. People have some serious issues with Common Core. I don't know. I think it's just a misunderstanding. And here's what the problem is. Especially parents, they don't like it because they're used to being able to do something, to help their kids with their math homework. And all this hatred for Common Core kind of stems around math. So kid comes home, they need help with their homework, and the parents can't do it. Well, the parents shouldn't have to do it anyway. The kids should know how to do it. They should have notes of some sort. They should have their book that'll walk them through it. But they just don't understand what the question is asking. They don't understand how they're supposed to be doing it. And that's fine. You don't have to do it for your kid. When you help your kid with their homework, you should be asking them questions, not saying this is how you do it. And I think that's where a big problem with parents comes in. With teachers, the problem is it's a change. And what I'm finding is the teachers who are quitting have been there for 30-something years, 35, 36 years. They've been teachers, and now they're being asked to teach in a different way, and they're not happy with that. And that's exactly what it is. I don't want to change. I've had my lesson plans for the past decade. I'm happy with them. You can't make me. And if you're going to make me, I'm going to quit. Which is fine. Because, in all honesty, do we need teachers who have been teaching for 35 years and who are unable to relate to students, who are unable to adapt to the change in technology and, all of that? Honestly, I don't want to be teaching for that long, just because I know it's going to cause me to be distant from my students. There's going to be this whole gap, and I'm not going to be able to reach them as well. Maybe in elementary, it's a little bit easier to stay in longer, but especially for me at the secondary level, no. I mean, you really can't. But anyway, Common Core, basically what it is done is it is now requiring teachers to teach not just how to do something, but why you do it that way and where it came from. Okay, so it's not just, 2 + 2 = 4, but how do we know that? Where did that come from? And that's a really simplified explanation. It really comes down more to fractions and algebraic, geometric type things. Also, it requires a lot more writing in all the other subjects. So as a science teacher, I am actually sitting very pretty. I can adapt pretty much anything into my lesson plans. So when Common Core comes around and they're like, you need to have students writing more. When you have to have students writing more, and they have to write nonfiction, they have to, write article-based, evidence-based type things. I can do that in science. I mean, I could pull from anywhere. So it's not that difficult for me to add that kind of stuff in there. What it becomes difficult is in math. Math teachers are like, what? I have to do more writing. But yeah, so it's very writing intensive. Common Core is. It's very math intensive. Every subject has to be doing math now. So yeah, it's difficult to adapt to, I guess, especially if you've been doing it a different way for so long. But we also are encouraged to do cross-curricular projects, lessons, and units. And I am all about the cross-curricular. That is my thing. In fact, when I was being interviewed for my job, that was something that I was asked about, because the school really doesn't do a lot of cross-curricular. I think they do some in the teams for elementary school. There's some cross-curricular stuff. But at the secondary level, at the middle school level of my school, they really don't. They had never really done a cross-curricular thing. And so I had mentioned that in my interview that I love cross-curricular, and the math teacher I was going to be working with was in the interview, and she's like, would you be willing to kind of set that up and get things going for cross-curricular for us, because we've never done it before? I was like, yeah. So yeah, I do it all the time. And even if I don't have the cooperation of the rest of my team and the other subjects, I still do them alone in my classroom. So my end of year project that I did last year was cross-curricular, and it involved everything, even though no one else was doing it with me. And 7th grade, which is kind of great, I was really excited. 7th grade saw me working and talking about cross-curricular and stuff all the time, and they came to me as a team and were like, hey, we want to do it, but we don't know how to start. We don't, know how to do this. And so I gave them one of my projects from a previous year, and I'm like, here it all is. And they were so ecstatic. I mean, there were some teachers who were like, I'm not going to do this. This is so ridiculous. I don't want to do this. It's going to be too much work. But because I gave them everything, they were all on top of it. They were so excited. Now they tweaked it and stuff to fit what they needed, because what I was doing it for was a completely different thing. But I gotta speeding up real quick. They tweaked it, they added things, they took things out, that kind of thing. But I gave them everything, and it worked out really well. And I think seeing me do it in my classroom, seeing the 7th grade team do it, has really gotten all of middle school now, we can do this. We can do a project. We can do, things like that. It takes a lot of work at the front, but you can do it. And once you've done it once, it becomes so much easier, because then you really start to see where every subject fits into everything. So, and that's what Common Core really is about, down deep. Okay. It's that, again, learning the why and the how, and then kind of tying everything together to show that math is not just math. Math incorporates social studies, it incorporates language arts, and it incorporates science. One thing I tell students all the time when they get on to me, because we're doing equations and we're learning about volume and we're learning about density and we're doing all this math in class, they're like, Miss Hughes, this is a science class, not a math class. I'm like, I'm sorry guys, but math is science and science is math. There is no line between the two. They are one and the same. And, they go from loving science and it's so awesome to, for a couple moments, like dreading coming to class. But again, I try to make it fun. I show them that this is how it relates. And if you don't know how to do it, you're not going to understand. And then they kind of get into it and they're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And then it helps with other teachers, because then they go into math and they're like, oh yeah, we did this, or in science class, they're, oh yeah, we did this in math. And it really ties everything together. They get more practice and it really does, help in the end. So all this hate for Common Core, I mean, yes, it has its flaws. It's not perfect, but it is, it's a good start. I mean, when I worked in Korea, they were doing a Common Core type thing much better, and much earlier than we were. So, just, it is for the best, okay? And yeah, I mean, I like it. It's not perfect, but for me, anything that gets common or gets cross-curricular lessons happening, I am all for. So yeah, I hope that doesn't confuse you too much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.